But now, time to move on to tonight's movie review. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time we saw this guy, he was battling a giant purple space emperor madman. Robert Downey Jr. is back with Dolittle. So, this is a remake of the old Disney film, Dr. Dolittle. At least that's pretty, it was a Disney film, yeah. The story is based on a doctor who learns how to speak to all the animals of the earth. And being a doctor, he uses his skills to help animals out and learn more and more as he can. The original film, which I don't think I've seen since I was a kid, was definitely a fantasy adventure film. They went across the sea, the ocean. I believe they were looking for something called the Luna Moth, which was a giant moth of myth or something. In this remake, things are a little different. We meet Dr. Dolittle, played by Robert Downey Jr., and he's kind of become a bit of a hermit, not talking to anybody else after he suffered a tragedy in his life. But a young man who has a love for animals, the likes of which no one's seen since Dr. Dolittle, comes to his doorstep, and together they go on an adventure to hopefully help out an old friend of Dr. Dolittle, who will say who it is later, as well as see this boy grow and learn how to talk to animals just like Dr. Dolittle, or at least he tries. Anyway, so let's get into this. Where to start? I had been hearing some bad things about this movie ahead of time, but critic scores, and there are a lot of times there have been plenty of times where I've disagreed with critics. This one, I'm like, I don't know, or maybe, what should I say here? I was actually kind of excited for this movie. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is a fantastic actor. A lot of people see him as just Iron Man, but here's the thing. The reason why he's so great as Iron Man is that he is a great actor, right? And don't get me wrong, credit to all the directors and writers who've worked on the Marvel movies involving Iron Man, but Robert Downey Jr. is who brings Iron Man to life. It's been discussed a lot lately. For a while now, many people saying that the age of the movie star is over because people are not becoming fans of the actors or actresses themselves. They're becoming fans of the characters they play. And Robert Downey Jr. has unfortunately become one of those guys where people want to see Iron Man, but they don't really want to see him, which once again, it's a shame because he's actually a really good damn actor. You know, he really is. Like, you love Iron Man because Robert Downey Jr. brings that character to life so magnificently. As for this movie, unfortunately, I'm having trouble holding Robert Downey Jr. down because I see he's happening, but I don't think the script and direction is working in his favor. Dr. Dolittle is definitely a very eccentric type of character, and because he talks to animals. Some people see him as a goof. Some people see him as this amazing guy. And we meet him after he's kind of pulled himself away from society. He's locked himself up in his sanctuary where he only talks to his animals. He's very grizzled looking, disgruntled, and he's just, a goofy guy. He does things that to him are very normal, talk to animals, the way he interacts with other people. But he's just kind of you would kind of expect a guy like that to be a little weird and goofy. I'm having trouble, I don't want to completely crap on this movie, but let me talk about some of the goods, because I'm going to come off like a jerk apparently at some point in this review. The CGI with the animals I actually thought was pretty good, yeah. Not quite, it wasn't on the level of, say, the CGI in the Lion King remake we had this past year. But honestly, I still thought it was pretty good. Other areas of special effects seemed a little off. All the animals seemed pretty good, but in other areas, they're on the high seas at one point, and there's definitely a ship set that Robert Downey Jr. and the younger actor are on. By the way, the younger actor is played by Harry Collett, who plays Tommy Stubbins, and we'll get into him. The special effects, the animals, fine. I really don't have the problem with special effects. I think they look really great, which makes sense because I've heard this movie has a massive budget, I think it's over $200 million. But in other areas, I'm not really seeing the budget. I'm like I said, all the animals look great, but not necessarily everything else. Uh, okay, let's get this movie should have been a cartoon. Uh, all the characters, including some of the human characters, they're not being eccentric. They're being more goofy in the way they express themselves, and it feels very cartoonish, which can be fine when you have a few characters like when most of the other characters are grounded. And Doctor Dolittle was the big goof of the movie, but even his enemy, who's played by Michael Sheen, a man called Dr. Blair, Mudfly, Mudfly, yeah, that's how you say his name, Mudfly. He's over the top cartoonish too. He has this jealousy of Doctor Dolittle, which I really didn't completely understand. I think he's because Doctor Dolittle is more famous, or Doctor Dolittle had a better life than him, even though Doctor Dolittle is suffering from like depression when we meet him in the movie. Um, and I don't know, it's just everything was just overly cartoonish and goofy. And I know that sounds weird for a movie about where the animals are talking, because it's not just them making animal noises the whole time and Doctor Dolittle like translating. Sometimes you do hear them just making animal noises, but most of the time we see the characters talking, and we have quite the cast here talking, doing the animal voices. I got to point this out. We got Emma Thompson, Rami Malek, John Cena, Kamal Nanjiani, Octavia Spencer, Tom Holland, Craig Robinson, Ralph Fiennes, Selena Gomez. This movie has an all-star cast. There's somebody in here for everybody. Unfortunately, the character development is actually pretty bland and poor. I mean, I really feel like, and a lot of that has to do with that the movie is horribly quickly paced. It's very rushed. Everything all the sequences in the movie, everything that happens feels very, very rushed. And yeah, it was just kind of very annoying. I felt like we never really made any connections with the characters, especially the animals. I mean, some of the animals are actually, pretty fun. You've got Emma Thompson. She's playing Polly the parrot, who's like Doctor Doolittle's confidant, second in command, the one animal that can really like talk sense into him when he's like being stubborn or something. She's probably the most well developed. You got John Cena playing Chi Chi, this polar bear who's down for anything. He's like, he's there to help Dr. Dolittle whenever he needs it. On top of things, you got John Cena's bear is called Yoshi. Rami Malek plays a gorilla called Chi Chi, Rami Malek's Chi Chi gorilla is kind of interesting. He seems to have anxiety issues. Like he's very much afraid all the time. This is kind of explained in the movie that he was in captivity at one point and maybe he was mistreated, but it's never really delved into. And that's the thing, that this movie deals with how fear can hold us down and hold us back in life, and that is a theme of the movie, but it's just not really developed because I don't think we really go into like why some of the characters are like Dr. Dolittle. Is pretty straightforward. They reveal in the movie that he lost somebody very dear to him in his life, and this crippled him emotionally. The gorilla, I'm not quite sure what his deal was. He has a moment where he finally kind of like gets over his fears in the movie. That's his character arc, but I'm still not sure like why he's so fearful. He just is, and I get it. It's funny to see this big, muscly gorilla act scared all the time. But if we're going to form an emotional connection with the character and feel great for him when he finally kind of acts brave or courageous, we need to know what it was that was holding him down. And I'm not sure the movie really explains it in a good way or like a fully fleshed out way. Another problem with the film is that obviously this film has a huge cast. We have a lot of animals in the film. Some animals get more spotlight than others. But every 15 minutes we're introduced to every 10 to 15 minutes we're introduced to a new animal. And even in the later half of the movie, we're getting introduced to like new animals. And it's like, do we have time for this new character? What's going on here? Is this new character necessary? They just keep shoving in these new animals and some of them at the end of the day, they're not really important or mean anything. And also there's lines in the movie, which once again supports my idea that this should have been an animated movie. They say like catchphrases like, snitches get stitches, or I got you, bro. And like that worked like in the Aladdin animated movie from the '90s, where like because Robin Williams was going crazy with like the genie magic and he was improving. That kind of works in a cartoon world, but in a live action setting, I don't think that worked quite as well. Like I get it, they're trying to sound hip and cool for the kids because there's a family kid film. But it's like does it make any sense that these animals would be saying these things back in like the 19th, what was it, 20th, 21st, 19th century? Yeah, it's like, are you trying, like, I hate it when movies do that. They pander to kids by saying phrases that they know. It's just like, you're just kind of like making it seem poor. Um, yeah, that was annoying. So, yeah, so like, like I didn't want to not like, I wanted to like this movie because it's Robert Downey Jr. Once again, Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor. He should be known for more than just, he should be known for more than being Iron Man. As awesome as he was in Iron Man, and obviously that'll be the one role he's most remembered for, he should be known as a great actor in general, right? And I was kind of hoping this would be like a kickstart for things to lead into, his life after Iron Man. We still have the Sherlock Holmes movie on the way, the third one in the series of ones he's done before. So I'm actually pretty excited for that. I liked the first Sherlock Holmes movie he did. The sequel, Sherlock Holmes: Game of Shadows, I didn't like that one as much, but it wasn't bad. It was just like it didn't, for a Sherlock Holmes movie. I just didn't think it had enough mystery. It had some mystery, but not enough for like a Sherlock Holmes movie. But I still really like the characters in those films. So. But yeah, Dr. Dolittle, like, I think only really, if you're going to take your kids to this, I think only really, really young kids, like really little ones, so like almost like toddlers maybe, would really be into this. Because I just think older kids would be just bored because everything's rushed. It's just like, I don't think it's anything that they're gonna ask you to like buy like the DVD for their birthday or anything. I don't think it's, and that's how I try to judge movies that are obviously aimed at kids. As an adult, I need to take into factor what would I have enjoyed as a kid, and I think I would probably remember this movie. I think it'd be one of those movies where it's like I wouldn't ask my parents to get it. I would, like, if it was on TV and I had nothing to do, I'd watch it. So at the end of the day, unfortunately, I cannot recommend the Doolittle movie. I didn't even talk about the young boy Stubbins who becomes his apprentice because there's really not much to talk about the character there. And it's one of those things where he's one of those characters where they make it seem like he's this new influence in Doolittle's life that's helping Doolittle to get over his personal emotional issues. But once again, because of the rush pace of the film and the underdevelopment of the characters, I really never felt a connection between him and Doolittle. It's just that's another problem. The film, I don't think, Doolittle, even though he's the main character, I don't he really doesn't get a lot of focus in the at times. It's like because there's so many characters in this friggin' film that it just kind of seems too spread out. Like they need to reduce the amount of numbers of the animals. Like here on the poster, like look, if you look at the Doctor Dolittle poster, for those of you who are listening on the radio stream, there's this fox up in the corner of the poster. The fox is in the film, but the fox isn't in the film for very long. It doesn't really play an important role. It's an unnecessary character. The giraffe has a bit of a role in the film. The giraffe comes in handy. The bear is the John Cena bear. He's like the bear, the ostrich, the duck, the parrot, and the gorilla are the animals that get the most attention in the film. All the other ones are peripherals that just come in for like a quick joke, including the squirrel, which I'm not going to go into because it's like a spoiler about how the movie starts. But yeah, so I'm sorry, I can't recommend the Doctor Dolittle movie. I can't even recommend it as like a matinee showing to save yourself a few bucks. It was just poorly rushed. The direction wasn't great to me. Weird shots. Sometimes I felt like the camera was too close up on the characters, and it was just I don't know. And then there was like weird sound editing issues. It was like there were scenes with like ADR where like you could tell they had to go back in the studio, and Robert Downey Jr. had to like redub his lines into the video, and they're just like I could tell like it doesn't sound like that his voice is coming from his body that I'm seeing on screen. It was weird. There's a lot of issues with this film. It's not a good film. It's a poor film, and I'm sorry for that because I want Robert Downey Jr. to start getting recognized as more than Iron Man. I know. I keep going back to that point. Anyway, yeah. So, Doolittle didn't do enough. And now I feel shame for saying that. Because that was so cheesy.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see a full episode, I live stream every Thursday night on Facebook right after I see the movie, or you can tune in to the Revenge Online Radio Network every Friday morning at 9 a.m. If you enjoyed the show, please consider contributing to the Patreon, patreon.com/PO Vincent.